Okay. I'm just going to put it out there right now that this is not going to be an easy meeting for me or for you. We have some serious challenges that we need to address very immediately, and I promise that I will be kind when I throw people under the bus. I will also be an equal opportunist in throwing people under the bus. So with that, I want to say don't take it personally in that it's not about you, it's about us. We do this as a team, we do this collectively. We fail collectively, we succeed collectively. And this is really a call to action for everybody in here, whatever role you do in the newsroom. I want you to walk away out of here feeling like, number one, you took this seriously. Number two, that you are going to do better. Number three, that you're going to ask me how you can do better so that I can support you to do better about that. And frankly, I want you to walk out of here knowing that this is kind of like the final, I don't want to say warning, but this is the final time that I'm going to talk about some of these things, because if what we talk about today does not get put into play immediately, the next step will be corrective action, whoever is responsible. So all this is based around our recent performance online. Our online numbers are down when we compare month over month from year over year from last year, precipitously. Bad, really bad. And every single day it's getting worse. And there are various reasons for it. Some of it is industry trend. Some of it is the news, the nature of the news in these months last year that we're comparing. A lot of it is us and the way we are not doing delivering our news online. And the upshot of all of this is that if it continues this way, bad things are going to happen. If we lost the number of print subscribers the way we're losing online, our print readers, the way we're losing online readers, you would be horrified. I could come in here and say, we lost another 1,000 readers today. We lost another 500 readers today. You would be horrified, absolutely horrified at that. Because you all know what print means. You all know what readership means. You all know what circulation means. Well, when I come to you and I say, when April of last year, our numbers were down, what, 500,000? 500,000. 500,000 online people reading our page views online, 500,000. That's huge. And that, if we continue in this trend, spells very bad things for this newspaper. Ultimately, it's on my shoulders. I understand that. But I can't be the person to fix this. I have to be the person to make all of your jobs such that you fix it. So now that everybody feels like they want to vomit, I'm going to show you with a little bit of levity the numbers that we have been dealing with in the last, tell me again? Since October. Granted, I wanted to let you know, I mean, news drives. Last week our numbers were up because we had the homicide and then the follow-up, and previously we had the dead body found in the backyard of the People's Homeless Company, and which I just want to say, when I was at the board dinner on Saturday night, the board thought we did a really good job with that story and telling about this guy who died, and especially his dog. But when we had Gold King Mine anomaly, we're always going to have those. We're always going to have these anomalies. We're talking about our core audience here. which is what we're losing. We're not losing people who just came to read while the Gold King mine spill was happening. We're losing our core readers. So I'm going to show you here some numbers of what we've been experiencing that Claudia sits and she and I can see every single day, and has it written, the number of page views we were down, has it written on her yellow legal pad that sits there that we both can see, and every day I walk in and I want to just, ugh, yeah. This is Claudia's music, by the way. This is what we're down every one of those days. We're just going every day. We're going down. This number is not going up. By yesterday, did we hit that? Were we down 400,000 by yesterday?
It's today, actually.
Today?
We're down 230,000.
So we got a boost from.
We'll probably end up down at least 250 for the month.
So we got a boost there from that homicide.
Just to make sure I understand the definition, those are page views, not users.
Right.
And so do you have the correlation for users, the same graphic? Yeah, so can we see that?
I don't have those numbers on there, but I can tell you what they are. Hold on. One sec. I think it's about 70,000 a month.
So 70,000 people who came last May just simply didn't even show up at our site. This
65,000 in April, or no, sorry. Yeah, 67,397 in April.
Users.
So they were there last May,
Yep.
didn't even show up once this May.
Yep.
Okay, just want to make sure.
April, but yeah.
Yeah, April.
That was April.
And then February was 102,424.
Okay.
Big numbers. I do the math and tell you what that compared to print, but I don't want to talk about print because that's our problem. We're too print centric. That's the biggest part of our problem. So what's wrong? So there are the numbers right there. January of last year, our users right here, just under 200,000. January of this year, right around 150, 160. Page views down huge, like I just said. And that just keeps going for each month. What are those losses? Our biggest losses are direct traffic, people coming directly to DurangoHerald.com. Organic search, also decreasing, people putting in search into a search engine. Other referrals that are not social media referrals. Social referrals are actually where we're doing well. We're actually increasing. February, I think we tried to decrease the number of stories that we were putting out on social media, on Facebook and Twitter, because as you know, those don't count against the paywall. We have a paywall, that's how we get paid. So we did a little test to see if we put fewer stories out there, if that helped at all, and it didn't. It hurt, so we went back the other way. I don't know. I would imagine that we regained those people.
Yeah,
I don't think we've.
People, and in fact, it's a moot point now that we're on Facebook Instant.
Right.
Because those views don't count against our paywall. And actually what we've seen, and I haven't pulled all the numbers for May yet, but we're seeing the same numbers of Facebook referrals as last May. But then we actually have a bonus because we have those Facebook Instant articles. So our social traffic is growing at leaps and bounds.
Does anybody, and we celebrated our 10,000th like last week, as you know. Does anybody not know what Instant Articles is and what we're doing, how that is? So two things to that. Number one, if you don't know, then you're not spending time on Facebook the way you should in your professional life. I'm not telling you. When we walk out of here and we talk about social media, I'm not saying that on Saturday at 3:15 you should be on Facebook or Twitter if you're home. Just because I am is my personal problem. But I'm talking about work. Instant articles, Facebook rolled this out in April, and basically if you're on a mobile phone and you're reading Facebook and you're scrolling through and you see a news outlet or anything that has the story, you see the preview, you see the photo generally, and then the headline underneath. Then if you look really closely, there's a kind of an opaque lightning icon in the upper right corner. And that means instant article. And what that does, when you click on that, instead of it taking you to our site, to DurangoHerald.com, which you then wait for it to load all the photos, all the ads, all that other content, it's taking you to a Facebook server where the story is hosted. And so it's quick. It's fast. You're not waiting for all that. It still has ads. You'll be scrolling, and in the middle of the story will be an ad. Scroll some more, another ad. At the bottom, there will be might be some related content. But it means instant. So because Facebook hosts that story, it means traffic is not coming to our site. I would like to say, oh, well, then here's a problem. We're all doing the right thing. Let's go. Unfortunately, that's not the case because we just implemented that at the end of April, I think.
And we're doing great off of it.
And we're doing great off it. It is a moneymaker. Well, let me say not moneymaker. It is a revenue share, so it's not like we're not going to be able to get any revenue off of that. But that's what instant articles are. I see more and more news outlets are on instant articles, of news outlets of any size. It's quick, it's nice. I'm more inclined, as a user, a Facebook user, I'm more inclined to click on that article if I see there's a lightning bolt on it. Darn right I am, instead of waiting and loading and loading, especially with our rural internet connection around here. Absolutely. So that's what instant articles are. So these are where we're losing direct traffic and organic search. Social, we're doing a good job. You can see the red got bigger.
So the instant articles, you guys are loading those onto Facebook.
It's an
Right.
RSS feed is how the technical part.
Yeah,
Just automatic
Yeah.
feed to it. So it automatically, each article that's loaded on there has the instant on.
Each article within a certain section front
Oh, okay.
that we've determined.
and you're not going to get that every single thing. I don't think you're going to get it like on letters to the editor or action line, things like that. We determine which get our instant article.
And do you count those numbers into our page?
No,
No, they're
because it's,
separate.
'Cause
yeah.
they're
But that's
separate.
what I was saying, our referrals are, on par, if not higher than they were last year, and that's not counting Facebook Instant, which we're doing very well with.
yeah, because it's the story is not hosted on our
Right,
server, so
but
we don't get the click, essentially.
Okay, so you don't get any
Our-
count, you don't get any count?
I get a count.
We get a count of how many people, but that doesn't help our web traffic, the
No,
things
no,
that we're
I get it.
talking
I
about.
just-
Yeah,
it's
yeah, we
not
know.
the number that
Oh, yeah,
is
yeah,
included.
yeah, well, yeah, that's definitely trackable,
Okay.
sure.
How many numbers are those? What are we kind of seeing? So,
We'll have the first full, month at the end of June.
oh.
Yeah, it's pretty new. Mary said to me, she said couple weeks ago, she said, the mobile site looks really nice. I like it, the new one. And I'm like, I wish our mobile site looked that good. She was looking at an instant article.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it is nice. I mean, if you haven't seen it or known it, try it out. They are nice. It makes us look nice, for sure. It makes our mobile site look. So drilling in through May, our direct traffic, our organic search, our referrals. Referrals are people clicking in from our email. Newsletter that goes out in the morning is flat. So we know direct traffic, we know our problems with organic search, referral, email flat. Again, people are like, oh, people are just getting the email. Well, I'll tell you, the last 3 days when I look at the email, some of the stories, and this is ongoing, I'm just talking about the last 3 days, some of the stories that we identified in the daily news meeting to be on the email newsletter, not on there. Real estate this week, not on there. All this, like one day, Sunday or Monday, we had like 3 stories in the newsletter. We talked about 6 in the meeting. 3 got on there. It's not the email problem. It's not the newsletter problem. It's us. And then social referrals. This audience looks at fewer pages and sessions than direct traffic coming in, specifically coming to DurangoHub.com. this looks by search engine or social, direct. Google's still one of our highest.
For those of you that aren't nerds like I am, if it's in parentheses, that's a loss. If it's not in parentheses,
It's
that's
a gain. So you can see with direct, Google, Bing, all those search, that's organic search right there coming in. Social, obituaries, because we as a society have an obsession with obituaries, dead people. Desktop, Facebook, more and more people, because instant article, I think when people are identifying instant articles on Facebook, people are using their mobile a lot more, because you can't, instant articles doesn't work on a desktop, but it's still up. And Google News. These are the pages on their website that are losing traffic. Our homepage is the biggest one. We're down 20,000.
And these were at mid-month, so I've really doubled these
Yeah,
for a month.
for where we are today. Mobile homepage, our local news front, which is one of, besides our homepage, is one of our hottest in our heat map. So these are broken out by mobile versus desktop. We're down in all of those. So we're down across the board for sure, but really where our biggest traffic, or where people click the most, we're down the most too, especially this homepage and local news front, the local and regional. So here's the hard part. The one question I say, or the one answer I have when I say, how did we get here? I say, we're screwing up. I'll show some website stuff here in a minute. Let me just talk about some of the ways in the last couple of weeks since I've been putting this together, to talk to you, some of the things I've seen. The first thing I have to say, if you are spending more than 30% or more of your time on the print edition, you're doing it wrong. We're still doing this race to a section and then doing everything as a print dump and going home. Work all week on my weekly section, pushing it online, leaving, going home, leaving that content for a week, coming, working all week on the print section, dumping it online, going home. As opposed to, I've got a story, I'm going to update my section with this story about working with people who are have deadlines within your section. You're giving them print deadlines and you're operating in a print manner. People don't know, our readers don't know, oh, it's Thursday, I'm going to check this section. It's Sunday, I'm going to check this section. This is when they update their content. They want to come and they want to see new content. And we're not giving it to them because we're operating as a print newsroom. We're not thinking when we're working with writers about stories, well, what video can go with this, or what online assets, and how can we make this better for the user reading this online? Because, as I've said before, many, many, many more people see our news online than they will see print. That's the reality. It's always going to be that way, and it's only going to continue to be that way. So I'm not saying abandon print. I'm not saying print is dead, not give two hoots about print. I'm saying don't spend more than 30% of your time in your job on print. We don't break news in print. That's our core audience. We're not gaining subscribers in print, but we can break news online immediately. We can gain some people who read us online, and we gain those people immediately. And when we gain those people, we can get them to come back if we give them something to come back for. But right now, we're not giving people any reason to come back to us. You know, when we hear on the scanner that there's a body found in somebody's backyard, I shouldn't have to tell you to open TweetDeck, to tweet the news, to get a photo. I shouldn't have to tell you to tweet more than one photo to get it out there. You know, I have an assignment, or I have this, or well, where are we going to put this on 3? I don't even want to hear you talk about print in this moment. I don't give a rat's ass about print until 6 o'clock at night when we're putting the print edition together. It's ridiculous that I'm having to tell anybody to tweet the story, to tweet the news, to get it out on Facebook, to tweet more, to get us a photo. One tweet on assignment is not adequate. I sat there on this Saturday when this dead body was found, and we got the news out there, and then I found out 5 times. I found 5 things about this incident off of Facebook of people talking on other people's pages, and we didn't have any of that on our social media sites. Nothing. And I was sitting there listening to the scanner, watching people. Well, how is this going to happen? How's this going to play out? That I even had to say something to somebody is not the kind of staff that is going to help us succeed. It just isn't. You break news online, you get it out there. We are often complacent in the fact that we say we don't have competition. We have a lot of competition, and you know what our biggest competition is? Facebook's Durango online garage sale. I mean, really, how many of you, I know Jonathan, you're all over that. You see stuff out there all the time, I mean, that's what people are talking, that Four Corners road check. I'll look at that. People have a road closure before we even have it out there. Our competition, we can't say we don't have competition because there's not another daily newspaper or radio station or television or, television news station. Our competition is social media, is the community out there. And it should horrify us each to the same degree that the news is out there on these social media sites before we are getting it out there, because we have access to it. We have instant access to the scanner, to the police, to sources. We should be breaking this news, not those, 20,000 people who don't have much of a life on online garage sale other than to get in internet fights, right? I mean, it's a compelling place. We get stories there. I'm not saying don't look at that. Absolutely look at that. I mean, we get a lot of stories there. It's a source. But you should consider them as your competition. If I'm getting more information about that dead body than I am getting from our own website and from our own Facebook page and from our own Twitter account, not okay. So there's the thing right there. If you are, I don't care what your job is in here, you got to be on social media. Have it open all the time and act fast. There's no sense of urgency in this newsroom, and we need to get there quickly. I'm going to go through some of these to throw some other people under the bus. Why did I put this one up there? There was something here. Anyway, that's our homepage. Look, we're not even looking at our own website. We're putting stories up there that have misspelled words in it. We found that out by some reader emailing us. Hey, missing a letter on somebody's name. SEO, great. Everybody's doing good on SEO. Well, here's one of our problems is we're giving it all away in the headlines. Nobody's reading. They're like, well, we will have some follow-up training about SEO headlines because it is I appreciate everybody's efforts, and people have gotten it, a lot of it, but we'll loop around on some training about what's too much, because there can be too much. So they're either reading it and not clicking through, or they're like, whoa, too much text, not going to read, moving on. I captured this on let's see, what day was this? Friday? Last Tuesday. Yeah. So the 20th. That story's from May 12th. First story in our health section. I want us to think about breaking things out like these graphics, this kind of stuff. Our graphics, still print-centric. We're waiting. We're attaching those. Those are not getting up online until some people have already read the story. Here's the graphic. I'll give it to the night desk. People aren't checking the website. We've got a subhead there that runs on to people are just pushing. People are just publishing. I'm not immune to some of these mistakes. I want you to know that. but we're not looking at, once you publish it online, you think, well, it looks okay in print, so it must look okay online. That does not,
I think the subhead text format, you need to add an extra return before you push it online,
okay,
or else it'll run
It'll
together
do that.
with the text.
okay.
Like, it'll look fine even in copy.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be on a separate line. I don't mean just the page now, just in copy. It'll be on a separate line, but when it gets onto the website, it doesn't retain the return,
Okay.
and it backs right up into the Word.
So if you see things like that, let me know, because that probably happened when we changed the styles online to be bolded or italicized or something like that. So that's probably a result of that. But again, we have to look at stuff when you push it online. After you push something online, look at it. I don't know what that story's about. Not an SEO headline. I talked about lacking a sense of urgency. Oh, I had some other people to throw under the bus in here. Yeah, Katie, I pointed this out to you last week. I went on the A&E website. The stories were 6 weeks old on the A&E on the A&E section. What? The people don't come back. They're like, and I get, believe it or not, I get emails about it. People say, God, I don't come there anymore. It's the same news. Like something's broken. Is my browser broken? Am I doing something wrong? And so I say, well, tell me what you're seeing, and I'll go to a section front especially. Sure enough, I'm like, yeah, we haven't updated this section in weeks. So why would they come back? We now have the task of having to retrain our readers to get these people back. We have to retrain them to come back. And our opportunity to do this is when we roll out our new website at the end of July, because we're going to take a double hit. We're already down a precipitous fall in numbers. But anytime you roll out a new website, you lose readers. You lose users. So we're going to take a hit again. And just so you know, again, this equals revenue. This is the ad sales people sell ads based on the number of traffic on our website. Just like in the old days where they go to print and say, well, how many people subscribe to your paper? Well, 10,000 people. And the old school formula used to be that 1.3 people or something sees each newspaper. So then you do this formula of, well, this many people will see my ad. So yeah, I'll buy an ad because a lot of people will see it. That's the exact same thing as online. They're asking how many users, how many page views, all of that information. And if it goes down, it's just the same as saying to this person a year later when I come back and say, do you want to re-up your ad? And they're like, no, because last year you told me you had 8,000 people reading your paper, and this year you only have 6,000 people. So not as many people are going to see my ad, so I'm going to go somewhere else and spend my ad dollars somewhere else. And then that's lost revenue. Same kind of concept. Yeah, did you?
I can ask you a question.
Yeah.
So on those section fronts, even if it is, if you're replace a local story with a wire story,
or rotate out. If you had a different story that wasn't in that main spot, that number one spot, take what your number 3 story was and put it there. I mean, some of it is kind of smoke and mirrors. I mean, you're just moving stuff around. You're change your headline, change the photo. Yeah, well, photos are problematic.
Yeah.
Photos are problematic. I know that when we change them. But I have workarounds. If anybody wants to know a workaround for that really annoying issue, I'll tell you what a workaround is. Very easy. Yeah, do those kinds of things. Change the headline, change the photo. What was in number 1 spot, come back and take what was in what your 4th story was and put it in that number 1 spot. Put a new headline on it. I don't know, maybe move something farther down in the story and move it up a little. Schedule your print, the way you're doing print, to push stuff online throughout the week instead of all at once. Wire, of course, will help. Anything that's fresh content so that people aren't coming to those section fronts and saying, well, it's May 20th and nothing's been updated since April 7th, so I'm out.
And those readers are really hard to get back.
Like I said earlier, we lack a sense of urgency in our breaking news and our general news and photos and videos. Our newsletter goes out in the morning, was built with video and photo gallery at the bottom. This weekend we had a lot of those in the newsletter because we had Iron Horse, but there will go days where it's the same thing at the bottom of that newsletter. Same photos, same video. You know, there's no sense of urgency of like, move on this breaking news, get out there, tweet it. We don't have anybody here on the weekend in here on the night desk or something that's retweeting the Herald stuff. While I was working on my personal life this weekend, I was retweeting the Herald stuff. I wasn't on the job. We had how many people in here in the office? Well, there's nobody assigned to say, okay, you're going to sit here, and it literally takes 2 seconds, you guys. If I can do it while I'm home, taking care of my stuff at home, and retweet, it's just you have to find a different way of workflow instead of being so print centric. Instead of paying attention to that, if the first thing you don't do is come in here and is open TweetDeck if you use it, or Twitter, or social media or something like that, again, doesn't matter what your job is, then you're not doing your job. Everybody has to be engaged in this. Everybody's got to take ownership of it. And there are times we do good. There are times we fall down, for sure. And I don't want to be the micromanager and tell desk editors of how to do your job. You know your desks better, so you know how to assign people what to take on, what we have to do. We need somebody out there. You can't just go to an event and do one tweet. You just can't. I mean, you're never going to gain follow. You're never going to gain a following. You're never going to gain somebody to say, oh, this person knows what he or she is talking about. Because you do that once and you give them nothing, and then they don't come back. They're not going to say, well, now I've seen these 7 tweets and these 7 photos. I'm really interested. Now I'm going to go over to the website and see what's going on and read the story. But if you give me one thing, it's not enough to bite. We have had some wins lately, so it's not all bad. Anchor links, people are doing good with anchor links. Thank you. That helps us because you remember one of the BCIUs at going links, incoming links are really helpful for our traffic, for our ranking. Related stories, we're doing more of those. But remember, if you think, oh, this has had, we've written about this before, you need related stories on that. And at the end of the night, this is not just on reporters. This is not just on Sue. This is like from beginning to end. And if somebody misses it somewhere along the way, somebody else picks it up down the line. We all, our maps, we're getting better. But again, our graphics, our print, we're just waiting around for print. They're not getting online. Social.
Turkey the other day.
Yeah, we had one. What was it? Yeah, that's the other thing when people are pushing content online. It was supposed to be Silverton. The Google map was Turkey, Istanbul, not Constantinople. You got, looking at those sorts of things. What did we determine? Oh, so the latitude was missing the minus.
No, it was the latitude and longitude were the same. We just copied and pasted them.
Oh. Our social referrals are increasing. Facebook Instant Article, that's what FBIA is. It's increasing our social views. Everyone completed BCIU sessions, which is great, but we need you to apply that knowledge. So we will fix this. We have to fix. I should have said we have to fix this. We have to. There's what I just said earlier. If you're spending more than 30% of your time on the print product, examine your priorities and your workflow right now. So these are some of the immediate things we're going to do. We're going to create a new half-column bug that we'll use to tease from print to online. We need to do a better job about teasing to online, letting our readers know why they should go there. Because we can give readers online extras, we can tell them, they've related stories, photo galleries. We need a more compelling visual for that for our print edition. Certainly if an asset that a reporter will add, that Sue puts that on the budget that goes out every night, which is another issue. Well, I'm thinking about that. The people at night are not reading the budget. I mean, that's where all that information is. If the first thing you don't do when that budget comes across from Sue is open that, I'd prefer you not print it to save money, but if you must, fine, pick it up off the printer. Read that and mark it off and pay attention to that. That's where all that information is. I mean, too many times are coming into the print edition and it doesn't even match what was on the budget that was sent out. Copy desk will edit that bug each night with a stronger call to action. Again, make sure you check that updated budget for details. Reporters and photographers, make sure that you put your information of what your assets might be, what we have, it's a photo gallery or video, before the 2/15 budget meeting, so that we know we can have those call to actions in the print edition. Reporters, you can include info on related assets in the notes in Saxatech if it's added, especially if it's added after that budget has come through. We're going to create some standing elements on 1A to tease to Facebook, Twitter. We're doing good. We want to continue to do that. David does a lot of it during the day, but we've got to have people posting to social media on the end. Sports was told to post a sports story at 8 o'clock every night months ago. Hasn't happened.
As long as we're talking about the standing elements of print, like, I feel like we're the only newspaper left in the country that doesn't put reporters' Twitters in the shirt tail. I feel like everybody.
It's coming. It's coming. The news website is coming. We're not talking about redesigning the print. Changes are coming for that. There's an issue with the way that integrates with the new website. It'll be with the new website. Like somebody from photo at the 21-day planning meeting, we're just working on all these silos. Reporters and photographers not talking to each other and saying, hey, this will be a good video. Here's why. Here's the video story. I don't know, when's the last time a reporter did a voiceover for one of the photo guys to do a video?
Mary.
Yeah,
Except Mary. Mary, here's the last one. Somebody wrangled you. But when you're out, we've all been shown how to record something. I don't know, 5 minutes, talk to me, great. Email it so that the photo guys can do a voiceover. We need better planning on which stories will merit photo galleries and videos. Better coordination. Talk to it when you're out. If you're talking to a PIO and taking notes, get them on record it too, so those can be used in on the video. We're going to identify one event a month in which we do photo galleries. We're losing a lot of opportunity on photo galleries because people will buy photos if they go. And it doesn't mean we have to get a name of every single. If they're crowd shots, every newspaper in the world has capitalized, in the country has capitalized on photo galleries, and we're still like, I don't have enough time. They don't need to be tweaked. They're not going to print. They're not being printed. We need to do better on that so that people will come. It's a source of revenue. And we're going to make business cards so that when you're out, when we've identified, well, this is going to be an event for a gallery, people can say, oh, I'm going to go there. I'm going to see my photo. I'm going to buy it. We need to have better tweeting and Instagram from live assignments. Posting a story at night, 8 p.m., sports story. Weekend copy editors, I just talked about this, always have TweetDeck and Facebook open. Post breaking news. Remember, you're breaking news online. You're not breaking news in print. We're doing those two at night are good for the 6 a.m. traffic. But there's news that's happening during the day. We had Fort Lewis College graduation. That story didn't get up till, I was over at noon. It got up at 9 o'clock that night. Why am I going to come and read about graduation that happened that morning? Durango Herald doesn't have it, so I'm not going to go there. Reporters got to let editors know what they have, put it up there. Reporters, you've got to update your budgets before you leave for the day. That's how we planned at our 9:30 meeting. We will start in that morning budget meeting determining what online centerpiece swapping strategy will be for the day. Take it from real estate or from Southwest Live or something like that and start rotating that more. And not just swapping the centerpiece story, but also headlines and photos and that sort of thing. Our new website, which the centerpiece on the homepage is much, much more prominent, so we will have to do this because we will really get ourselves in trouble if we don't do that.
Can that just be an automatic thing on the new website? Like, we identify 4 stories for the carousel, you know, for that day. So, you know, that would just save a lot of back-end time for
I don't think
you know,
we
various
can.
people. And
We can't do that, but
and
the
it-
problem with that more than anything is the fact that we need to see how those stories are trending. Because if it's trending well, then what we wanna do is we wanna swap up the photo or swap up the headline, we don't wanna swap up the story.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, there's strategic decisions.
or if it's doing
to
really
make
crappy, we don't want to say, well, we have the next one scheduled for 2 hours, so we're just going to leave it there. So, yeah, we just need to have more discussion about, the editors need to have more discussion about that, what our swapping strategy will be for the day. And we're going to move the grease board that's in the library now out into the newsroom, where we'll track those things, where we'll write down what was posted, what goes up, what should go up when, which is what every newsroom that's a really, truly a digital first newsroom has. So we'll get that moved out there as soon as we get somebody who can unscrew that grease board and screw it into the other side, because I'm not touching that false wall, because if those TVs come down, I'm not responsible.
Yeah.
I need to see my drill and doing something. Plus I have a really, really weak drill. Budgeting, we're going to be better about budgeting. As long as we're talking about Saxo and whether we can schedule or swapping those things out. I am in the middle of testing a new version of MediaWare Center for Saxotech. We're upgrading 2 things. We're upgrading MediaWare Center and we're upgrading InDesign to go to InDesign 6. And then MediaWare Center, which will bring some of the things I talked about not that long ago, which are, I think it should have automatically attach wire photos to stories. It will also have something called multiple priorities. Right now, as we've been our hands have been tied by wanting to put something in the centerpiece section on the front, and giving it a one and a front page lead, but like it might not show up in the A&E section or the sports section, for example. Well, with this new website and an upgrade to the MediaWare Center, we can have multiple priorities. So we can say, I want it in this spot on the home page, and on the sports page, I want it in this spot. So it doesn't have to be one or the other anymore. It won't have to be one or the other anymore. So that'll be nice. And then we're going to start working on some exclusive digital content. We're not just want to be digital first, we want to be exclusive digital content and give people who are coming to our website more than what you get in the print edition. Peter and Sports, we've talked about blogs before. We'll work on a proposal for July 1. Blogs are phase 2 of the website rollout. So it won't be at the beginning, but we'll start talking about how we're going to do that. Claudia and I are talking in a little down the line about podcasts. She and I exchanged some emails today about that, but that's a little bit down the line. But we'll have a discussion. She and I will have a discussion about what that might look like before I leave. We have hired a new editorial assistant to take Sarah Silvernail's place. His start date is Monday. His name is Jesse. Jesse is eager. Let's all make sure Jesse remains eager. So everybody do what I'm talking about in here today so that Jesse doesn't come in and say, well, you were a liar in the interview. But he's going to help us post a morning digest, if you will. I don't want to rip it off from a lot of newspapers that call it that, but essentially it is, which will be, here's what you need to know today. It's Wednesday morning, or Tuesday morning. City Council tonight, they're going to vote on whether you can have a dog in city limits. So you want to go and comment in public about it. Here's what the weather's like, what you can't miss. So that will automatically post in the morning. We'll have people working at night check the weather in case a storm blew in or something like that. But that's going to be one of his tasks when he starts and gets up to speed. of having that need to know post on the website. And that'll be in the newsletter, and of course, that'll keep people coming. I'm like, okay, what am I missing? And then our goal, our challenge is we've got to follow up. We can't just say, this is what's going to happen. We've got to follow up on that too. And we have to be better about updating our stories online. I do not want to see anybody taking 3 hours to write a complete story. If you have news, I want to, we got bit last week, Denver Post bit us on that homicide story. Here's some whippersnapper, is he young? That guy in Denver Post? Whippersnapper in Denver beats us to our own homicide story. And I get an email from Claudia and the owner or the CEO of this company saying, why is Denver Post beating us to the story? Why are we not saying that an FLC student was killed? Why do we not have this in the headline? That was terrible. Terrible. Get those news out there and post it. We don't need that. And the other thing is that keeps people come back. People know enough. Readers know enough that you come back throughout the day to get more news. They're trained well enough, not just by us, but for everybody in this industry. And we're not doing it for them, and we need to start doing it for them. Graphics, we got to move on graphics. This turning graphics in when I'm leaving here at 7:30 at night, no. We'll start thinking about doing, when we find out a solution to this, news of the week quiz. The copy desk will post it on Sundays. Kind of like, I don't know if Slade or somebody did you know the news of the day, news of the week? What happened? Did the city council vote for or against having dogs in the city limits? Will there be anarchy as a result of their vote? We've got to have that photos of the week post every morning, Monday morning. We're so inconsistent. We get readers going for 3 weeks. Oh, it's Monday morning. Well, here's a photo gallery of photos from the previous week. Monday morning comes around, not there. Next morning comes around, not there. Like, okay, I'm not going to come back. Claudia's going to track content performance by type. That means if it's a brief, an explainer story, an enterprise story, by length also, to see where we're doing well. And we'll do more of that. Yeah, Claudia
Looking forward to it.
Claudia has her
Makes me
work
tired just
cut out
thinking
for
about
it, cut out for herself for sure.
Starting tomorrow.
Starting tomorrow, which is June 1st. Because we have to, we really have to be prepared for the rollout of the new website, so that we are prepared to take that hit. It's going to take us a lot to get these people back, unfortunately. This is not just, okay, go out, we're energized, we're going to do it again, and we're going to go out there and start doing this. They're not going to come back as easily and quickly as they left.
Is there any way we can get all of our local stories on the local regional page?
The
'Cause I
local
feel like-
regional page is going away. And
On the new website.
on the new website.
But until then, can we get our local stories on that page? Because I understand, their views are down 9,000 on the page, but they're down 20,000 on the homepage where the section fronts are. And I feel like people, the way some people consume our site at least, is just let me look down the list. and
On the
see what-
homepage, you mean?
On
That
the
are-
On the
local
local
regional
regional, where
news.
all of our local
I do that
stories are listed.
sometimes. Yeah.
And, local section front stories don't get onto that page. And,
Oh,
I mean, I think.
so you want, so if you have a Southwest Life story that's local, you also want it to be on the local and regional?
Exactly.
Unfortunately, no, not now. We have, because of the way the templates are. It's that multiple priority thing,
Right,
which is what the news website will fix.
right,
Yeah. I see what you're saying.
right.
Yeah, because people aren't gonna wade through all the other wire stuff to see it. But yeah, not at this point, not the way, our website is old and we're hampered by it. Our hands are tied in progressing with it, we know for sure.
Only for 2 more months.
Only for 2 more months. It's gonna look so much better. We're gonna put local briefs, every local brief will be its own story instead of combined together and then drop off into the black hole of the internet. Because that's where those things go for whatever reason, I don't know.
Does the blotter go to the same place, the same black hole?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, we've got some issues. I would like to say that those are our issues, but we've had this website for, what, 6 years now? And that if it was the website's problem, we wouldn't be seeing this. This is us.
No, but I think,
So-
not that there aren't many ways to do this, but I think just literally having one place on the website where you can go and get every local story by looking down a list. I mean, that sounds so unattractive and basic, but I think at the same time, it's awfully effective.
Yeah.
Like, let me just see every local headline, it's all on this page. I can go back 3-4 days. You know, that's, if you look at our top 10 on the website, it looks
Those are
like
the
that's
ones.
how people are consuming
Yeah.
our site now.
Yeah.
Right.
Because the top 10 does not correlate to the homepage
No.
at all.
It
Right.
correlates to that list,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I mean, that would take a development change, and it's, our old website's in lockdown.
Yeah.
Or anything that's like, any change we want, there's like, sorry. But I promise you, the new website's gonna look great. Aye.
So now with mobile views, so since mobile views are just going through the roof, desktop views are dropping tremendously. So now when you
That's not
go
true.
and you look at it, well, you
Jerry.
had the.
That's not true.
But anyway, so people look at, I know.
What?
My question is what we're talking about is when someone goes and looks at something on our mobile site, does that
Asterisk.
count to
Harold.
a view on our page?
Yeah.
Or do you have
It's
to
all
go
together.
down to the bottom and hit the view the full site?
No, it's all together.
Okay.
What happens with that mobile audience is that even though there's more people on it, they look at less pages.
Yeah, 'cause it's
And
more-
so, our desktop audience is much stickier. And so when you're looking at this big page you drop, that's the same with social. Is that when people come in through social, they typically look, I think it's 1.12 pages per visit, whereas like our desktop audience looks at like 3 pages a visit. So, that's actually part of the reason we're losing people is because of mobile.
I've seen multiple complaints, I think on Facebook, but about the pop-up ad on the mobile site.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you get that, the response is, and you can respond to people on Facebook, I'm not, it's not like you can't respond. If people complain about Google surveys popping up, it's because, for 2 reasons. Number one, they're not a subscriber, and so you're gonna get that as a pain to get through it, and you should, because we deserve to get paid for our work,
Yeah.
which is why we charge for our news. And number two, if they are a subscriber or online, they're not signed in.
That pop-up ad is different though. It
Oh, the
appears
pop-up
in 10
ad, oh, I'm
seconds.
sorry.
Oh, okay,
You just
it's
have to-
fixed for 10 seconds.
10 seconds seems like a really long
That's a
time in this,
true.
this day
You're on
and
mobile, 10
age.
seconds, you're done. You know, I mean, you do.
I
you
wanted
just
it
go.
yesterday.
But it doesn't show up on the mobile site. These are people that are looking on mobile at the full site.
They're on a phone, but they're on DurangoHerald.com
You should be able to
versus
scroll a little bit and-
Oh,
m.durangoherald.com.
I see, okay, right.
It's just not ideal. I mean,
Tell them to get
Yeah.
our app then, so they can get to the mobile site.
tell
Well, we
them to be patient for 2 months.
Yeah, be patient.
There's not a win there.
Okay.
For, you mean for the ad, for ads to go away?
Yeah.
Well, to that I say, how do you think we pay ourselves?
Yeah.
Like, you don't wanna see ads?
Get an
I
ad
mean,
blocker like Amy.
Then,
Start subscribing.
good. I don't, no, I don't have an ad popper up on our website. If any of you have ad block on your website, I'm gonna kick your ass.
I do.
But yeah, I mean, I could stand here for another hour and say, I think people will talk about where the industry went wrong, and I think where we went wrong is at the get-go with the digital disruption. We gave away our news for free.
Yeah.
I didn't have a,
Give advertisers a way to close transactions.
yeah. I mean,
That
there's,
We get focused in on end a transaction, and we can finish your sale online on our site. But that's 10 years too late.
yeah, yeah. And I'm not saying, we're gonna figure out all the answers. I mean, hell, New York Times can't even figure out, how to really make a ton of money off of its online the way it does print or something like that. So, our problems are not unique. Some of our problems are unique to us, some of them are not unique to us. Where those are not unique to us, there are people out there who are working diligently to figure that out. I will be one of them in 2 months. But for those issues that are unique to us, only we're gonna fix that.
So, during my sprained neck period, when I have lots of time to read stuff, One of the things I read that people are finding is really effective, particularly in community newspapers like this, is building stronger relationships with readers. And so I came back and said, I think we ought to be doing some things like while we're reporting stories, we're blogging about it, and so people follow us as we build the story. And particularly I'm doing something like my drug and alcohol series, that's gonna
Right.
be a bigger story. So that they're engaged in the story before it ever runs. And I guess that we don't have the capability of doing that now, but, I mean.
Well, there are yeah, I mean,
I
those are
think
the
there's some
sorts
things
of,
like that that we can
absolutely,
start
there
doing,
absolutely is. I
and,
mean,
yeah.
you know, just rattle off 5 things. There's something like that. There's the opportunity to, you know, we tried Facebook Live this weekend. I think it went reasonably well considering our connection issues around here.
Incredibly successful.
Successful. It was something, we have to keep up with the trends. We can't, you know, could we have Periscope? Yeah, but Periscope, it's kind of old now. We've got Facebook Live video, trying these new things. There are some places, newspapers that will have a Facebook page for a specific series that people can follow along, that you blog about or you post the
And I did
stories
show you that
there.
For your drug thing. I mean, this is the
You
other,
did?
yep, and we had these conversations and then we
show
don't
me that?
follow through. I emailed it to you. And so that's the other thing, is you guys have a lot of great ideas, and I've heard a lot of great ideas, you gotta follow through. It's not just me, it's not just you, it's everybody. Is that you can't just say, hey, let's do a copying quiz. We have to follow through. We all have to follow through, and that's where the ball's getting lost a lot. I think this room is full of great ideas.
Yeah, we're not,
Across the board.
it's not for lacking ideas. We lack in the things I talked about earlier, urgency, being social media users, putting way too much effort into print, not thinking about online, not checking online. You push something and you just walk away and it could, I mean, Claudia and I spend a lot of time in the mornings fixing our errors because they need to get looked at night. I don't want to, if I have to say one more time to somebody, tweet or get something off Twitter, my head's going to explode. That should be like the same way if you put your left leg into your pants first. It should be the exact same routine. That's what you do. You break news out there, treat the internet as you would the print edition, the immediacy of it.
It's our town cry.
There are a lot of ideas, event ideas. We're talking about campaign and advertising campaign for people in the community to get to know reporters and editors. So we don't lack on ideas. We lack on execution and follow through. But we just went through 4 months of BCIU, at least 4 months, 5 months of BCIU. And what I would most immediately like to see is for us to put those, what everybody learned, into action, because we're still not putting those into action. And that's going to help us a lot. And it's not revolutionary stuff. This is what other papers do. This is what we have to do. I don't want to have to come behind at the end of the night and be putting anchor links in your stories or attaching file photos or related stories or something like that. I know it takes time, but it also but that time is what's worth it. That's what will keep people coming back.
And a few of you have said to me that you know how to do all the stuff we've done in BCIU, and that's great, but we're not doing it.
Yeah, that is the thing. We saw that on the surveys. The BCIU follow-up was just like, yeah, I knew how to do this stuff. Well, you wouldn't know it because you're not doing it. Okay, I'm going to wrap up because here's where we're going to go in June. This is Claudia's music again.
Did you just throw numbers up there
That was
willy-nilly?
me.
This is doable. We're going to have to work hard, but it is doable. Oh, I wasn't fast enough. See, even I have an immediacy problem. $50,300 by the end of June, and I promise you I will make it worth your while.
And that's over June of last year, not over May of this year.
They're all about the same.
Yeah.
1.8 million page views. But yeah.
Okay.
So how
May's
did-
gone,
how
we're
did
done with it.
14 and 15 look? Were we starting to drop even then? When did we hit our peak on all of this?
Yeah.
August.
Yeah.
I think had we not had the, I
You
think
know.
had we not had the Gold King mine till we'd start to see a fall in August.
Back
So
then,
probably
Yeah.
July
when we
last
kinda
year
started
is when we
seeing
That saved us, that saved our keister.
Both Gold King for August and September.
I mean, and remember, we're always gonna have things that skew. I mean, we had the homicide last week. There's some sort of, allegedly, some sort of Dylan red wine news that's on the horizon that's, we're gonna, you know, that I think I've brokered an exclusive, we'll see. At least first on the news. So those things will help us for sure, but we can't, you know, but we can't let that be our only help for this.
Third time I'm breaking news.
Okay, I know we have paper to put out, and I'm not gonna take any more time, because it's 4:04.
Online site to attend to.
What?
We have an online site to attend to.
Okay, yes, we do. Thank you. See, bonus points for Sue.